We don't want you to walk into a hall, see a movie, come out, ha, bahut kharab hua. It shouldn't happen, and it's forgotten. This game one has left a deeper impact on people than a 3 hour movie. What we can do with this game is really, really get you thinking.
Hello and welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast. Today we are talking with Leena Kejriwal and Satyajit Chakraborty. These guys are working on a game called Missing. They first released Missing, which was the first version of it, and now they are working on the second game. It's called Missing the Complete Saga. Now, I have played Missing One. Okay, I won't call it one and two, but I have played Missing, the first game that you played, and it was super intense. Like I literally loved the game. It's quite engaging. So, what was your like? Let's just talk about the first version first. What was the reception? How was the reception of that game?
Okay. I have a studio called Flying Robot Studios in Calcutta. It's an indie game development studio. Also, we do projects for clients. We collaborate with people, and it's a small studio. It started from 2012, and from then on, we are kind of making games for others and ourselves also. We got like one of our game Missing that we are talking about. It got like Indie Game of the Year award in 2016, and also it has got several more awards. Leena can talk more about that. On 2019, it got WCG award, and right now we are working on another game on the same world of Missing, which is called Missing the Complete Saga.
Hi everybody. I'm Leena Kejriwal. I'm an artist, photographer, installation artist, and now an accidental publisher. I call myself. So I'm driven by creating narratives around the issue which I feel very close to my heart, that is exploitation of young girls. And that's what's led me to create a trust. I have a Missing Link Trust, which I'm a founder of. And we systematically work on prevention of exploitation of young girls using very interactive mediums, narratives, visuals. I have public art, I have comics, I have other stuff. And one of the great elements which I have created or have been able to do something is making a game for a cause. And that is with this distinguished gentleman sitting here, Satyajit Chakraborty. We created a game for a cause, and I'm happy to say that it was a topic which he didn't have any idea about. He got initiated into the whole scenario through me, and we created this amazing gameplay which creates great empathy. And I totally believe in the power of games for actually, I hate to call them social change games because they are, first, I want to be true to the genre that they have to be games. And now we are now creating a game too to extend our experience and the narrative of the space. And we're really looking forward to taking it out and sharing it with you all.
Yeah, so the way I understand is like Satyajit runs Flying Robot, who are the developers of this, and you're an artist and you do all kind of artistic stuff, and then you landed up in doing something for a change, we can say, right? For a change. And I know Satyajit for a long time now. We
Okay.
usually meet at conferences and events, and I know him talking about very deep stuff like this before also. Now, what I want to know is how do you guys meet basically, because that's like a perfect combination. He always had these random ideas of random games of storytelling and other the stuff, but then that's what I want to know. How did you guys even
I
collaborate?
want to take that. I want to take that. I would say Kayanat because I asked the only person I know in the gaming space is another gentleman who's actually fabulous with word games, Rajat Agarwal. He's somebody whom I know. And I say, Rajat, I think I want to create a game for change. Can you suggest a developer? He gives me Satyajit's name. And Satyajit happened to be like 15 minutes away from my place in Calcutta. Can you imagine? In
Wow,
Calcutta.
wow, that's
But to
destiny, I
Yeah,
find
guess.
somebody
kind of.
who's like so close, he saunters in and we meet and we talk and he says, interesting. You know how Satyajit is, very non-committal,
Yeah.
very impossible way. How would it happen? And crazy. And like I'm a crazy mad woman for even suggesting it. And but we started.
That's
Yeah.
actually destiny, I guess.
Yeah.
He always tells me, Leena, you're surrounded by very good people. I said, the best person everybody surrounded is with me. I'm the good person out here, and you all have the good opportunity to work with me. And that's why so many beautiful things happen.
Nice, nice. But
It,
this thought, right? This thought about making a game around a very it's kind of thought provoking. Talking about girls who are being trafficked. How did it happen? Like what made you both of you like to jump into this? I'm sure there is one of you who got this idea, right? Because I'll just talk through the audience perspective. I just want to know who came up with the idea and then how did it evolve.
of course, like it was initiated by her. She wanted to create awareness. Just yeah, you start and I'll
I'll just say,
get you. Hmm.
because this is my answers, and the rest, all the technical stuff goes to me.
Yes. Yes.
So basically, what happened is I had crowdfunded for my first set of public art, and I realized that to really create mass awareness, technology is going to play a very key role. And I definitely knew I wanted to create an app because I totally felt that instead of knocking on every door, it's very important to be in a space where people are driven to, where
True.
there is already a community. So I had crowdfunded for an augmented reality app. So I was my crowdfunding had got down from June to July, and it's August first week, and I'm sitting with a table full of summer interns. You know how American return students, August, they all were there in Calcutta, and they were all sitting there and very excited with what Missing was doing. And I'm saying, hey guys, I'm going to take out an augmented reality app. And they were like, Acha, really? I said, yeah, it'll be so exciting, It'll be something which you'll get a geotagging, ye hoga, wo hoga. It'll come alive and you will scan the public art and you will see the girl moving. And they were like, okay. And then they were like, I said, no, you will come to know a little bit more about it. The artist in me was just very excited about using technology. But they were so disinterested in what I was telling them, and they were like, what will make me keep that app on my phone? I'll probably scan it once and I'll leave it. And that itself blew my mind. I said, God, I'm going to work hard on this app, and these people are not going to be catching anybody's attention more than that much of time.
Yeah.
At that point of time, I had actually approached an animator who was there in US, some through a connect. For me, it's all word of mouth. So I got connected to somebody who was animating for Disney, and I told her, "Can you work on some animation for me?" So she kind of sent me some examples. The example she sends me of is of a game for a cause.
Oh, okay.
So it was a very non-linear journey into a game for a cause. I had no idea that a game for a cause even existed.
Yeah.
So she sends me an example of Darfur, the Syrian refugee game.
Right.
And more than the style of the animation, what caught my eye was the genre.
Got it.
And that's when I called up. Rajat, and I said, Rajat, I think I definitely want to go create a game for France, a game for change, and that's when Satyajit walked in.
Nice, nice, amazing. I when I played Missing, right, it had a very unique art style. It was like what we can say is a 2.5D isometric view. Satyajit, this might be something that you can answer, right? I know that you most of the work was done by you in Missing, the first game that you made. What made you jump from a 2.5D isometric to a 3D, which is like, because I feel it's a very it has a huge scope. Like the game has a huge scope compared to how many people are actually working on it.
Yeah.
So how was that shift and why did you choose that?
The first game was in 2.5D, of course, like, and it was using camera projection. If you just look at that, all the things were actually not real-time lighting. All the things were pre-rendered. All the levels and the pre-rendered graphics were projected upon the level, so that from that perspective, it feels like very rich thing with dynamic lights, but they were not. So that's why it plays very smoothly in mobile devices as well. So there were a lot of limitations of this thing. You cannot get away with that. Like we you have to use dynamic lights and shadows and light maps if you want to kind of expand your story and have interactions between like things and all. So we had to cut corners a lot into missing one. So we didn't want to do that in missing two. We there was no point on that. So we shifted to 3D, of course, like full 3D without this pre-rendered kind of 2.5D over there. So we lost the advantage of kind of doing away with lesser amount of art, but we managed to compensate that with procedural art and all. So it came together after that, because there is no the scope in the scope of that missing the complete saga. The game cannot be done in that 2.5D way, because it's so much immersive. Like it has to be a 3D game.
I keep seeing some screenshot Saturdays and all that on the FB groups, and that Satyajit usually posts, and it seems like it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
How are you guys managing it? Like, do you
uh,
did you find people, or is just two of you?
the amount of work that is needed for this game is completely out of the scope of our small team.
Yeah.
Completely. Like if we have kind of expand our team 10 times, even then also like we won't be able to do that. It's so much of a like a amount of work, because we wanted to actually have a deep dive into the life of these people. Now the thing is, the point of missing two is when it doesn't preaches, it doesn't kind of try to educate people or something like that. It gives them an open space of kind of open choices, and players will try to find their way out. While they are trying to find a way out, they will make their own story, and they will make their join dots in their own way and find their own path. Then only they will be able to empathize with, okay, what is, I understand this world more than anything. If it would have been a linear story, like, or a little bit branch story like Missing One, it would have been like had to be a very short kind of preaching, because people cannot take more preaching than a very short game or something like that. But for a deeper subject, for a better understanding, you have to do it by playing it, not by just knowing it or hearing to a story. Because I believe the power of games, power of playability is much more than power of narrative, like power of narration, where you kind of hear a story or learn something. It's much more effective if you find it in your own way.
Yeah, and I think games these days are getting into that space where you don't need
Yeah.
you don't need combats. You don't need challenges or puzzles. It's just there are a lot of walking simulator games which have done fantastic. Games like Gone Home, which touched based on a lesbian love story. Or there are very very great games with no combat at all, but then still they are so engaging. It's all about the narrative and the storytelling that you
Many
use.
games,
Yeah.
many games. Even like in 2D, Stardew Valley is a good game. In 3D, Firewatch is a good game where
Yeah.
you don't have that kind of combat or something like that. But it's very engaging, and it kind of engages with all the actions and narrations of that. In this game particularly, we also doesn't have any combat because there are there are bits of violence in each kind of where but there are real life or something like that. You don't go with a sword in a real life,
Yeah.
whatever we are trying to mimic is some portions of real life, whatever happens in the real life, and decisions should kind of come from the player's own life knowledge. Yeah.
I would say fact is stranger than fiction. Real life scenarios can actually be more stealth and more, the normalcy of a patriarchal society itself is so violent sometimes that it's things like that which will emerge as your main villain. Because, and yeah, because she's in a normal scenario which is still ridden with so many pitfalls and which is real.
And it happened in missing one also. I remember in missing one. I actually was done with the game design, with the story and everything. Now what happened? I never have been to red light area, or happen to work with a trafficked woman or survivor or something like that. But the thing is, like, I gather up my inspirations from literature or movies or whatever kind of were there in the space with dealing with this kind of trafficking or something like that.
Yeah.
But I remember coming to Leena said, okay, chalo, let's go to this place. I want you to meet these people. I was a little bit like, okay, this is something I never kind of thought it would have happened. So, but she's very pushy kind of a lady. If she kind of
You
wants
gotta
something to be
do it. You gotta do what you gotta
done,
do.
yeah. So she kind of chalo, so he kind of pushed me into it. So he took me into those places and those interviews. Those words, the things that I experienced over there. I I immediately gathered up, like, all we knew about this space is a fiction, is a lie. The
Yeah.
literature, the whatever is done so far, they are juiced up in so much way that all the reality has been washed away for the sake of writing the fiction. The reality is on a very different level. Reality is on something that is never cannot be imagined even by a layman or a common people like you and me.
Yeah.
So I was completely shocked. I remember I made a game about some girls escaping the brothel in a kind of action based way or something like that. The girl was where I was talking to. He just looked into my eyes, like, and told me, like, "Oh no, that never happens."
You can
So
never
no,
escape that space. You can
no,
never.
it never happens. Just when she remembered, like, what happened to her when she tried something like that, what kind of beating she took, just that eyes the eye communication that happened with her, just she kind of told me with her eyes that the amount of violence happened over there. So that kind of mostly shook me up in a so much way I had to scrap all the design and I had to start the story once again. So when I was doing that, I noticed that all the things are happening and the game is going to be painful rather than fun. it's going into the area where it's kind of deliberately going to get pain. If you play missing one, you know that whenever you collect money, somebody gets the money away and takes all the reward from you and give you a higher challenge or something like that. It's completely unfair, completely balanced to the other side. People who are going to be aggravated, like, oh, what am I doing? So we thought, like, this is not going to work with gamers and all. Audience is not going to, but we felt the need that this reality has to be told nevertheless, regardless of if this is going to be a popular or not. But the audience reaction was very different. In my opinion, we kind of underestimate the audiences. We treat them as like a dumb fella, stupid dumb fella who doesn't who want to spend a happy time or something like that. But there are different kind of audience. There are different kinds of audience. There are, of course, like, there may be stupid fellas, but there are different people like you and me who want to have a different kind of experience than regular generic ones.
I totally relate to this because I remember getting goosebumps in 5 to 6 events during that game when I was playing it. I specifically remember getting goosebumps in some parts of the story. What do you think now? Because you've worked on one game already, what do you think is the right audience for your game? Like, who are you exactly targeting this game to?
For me, I am targeting everybody. I think this game should be a game that a father will tell his son, "You must play this." A mother will tell his kid, "You must play this. Forget about any other game. You should play this." We always have parents telling people, "You should not play games. Games are a waste of time." We want this thing to, in a such a way, like, even if the parent doesn't understand the game or whatever, he understands the value of it. It puts so much societal value in it that it becomes a mandatory for anybody to actually experience it. It doesn't require some kind of Twitch based skill set, so that you don't have to be a good with controller to actually play this game. So anybody can play it. Sure, so everybody can play to understand what is exactly the happening, and what kind of things are needed to be exposed, told, and experienced in your own way, so that you have a better understanding of the world. You take that understanding into your real life, and you be a better person. What more can a game do? So
Yeah,
uh,
true.
it targets everybody.
Yeah, Leena, I just wanted to ask you this. Since you're from a non-gaming background, right? You didn't have that experience before, but you worked on first game, okay, and then you are now working on the second game. I'm sure there is some satisfaction that you have gotten out of game one, that you jumped on game two. I mean, see, it's pretty clear that the game is like, no publisher would jump into spending a lot of time into a game like this,
I
because the
I did a Kickstarter just for Satyajit. I said I did all the pasina chuke pura Kickstarter. I said, Satyajit, giving it to you on a platter. लो game बनाओ, game two. ऐसा कौन मिलेगा, किसको मिलेगा, you know?
yeah,
But I would like to say where I came from. So the game one, the response we got from it was heartwarming. The kind of reviews we received, the kind of comments we received, the kind of people telling us this is the most important game to have ever been made. I've got reviews from across the world: Korea, Indonesia, Philippines, Brazil. That's other over and above India and US. And Bangladesh, it hit the top of the charts with the first Bengali version in 1 week. I had no clue. Satyajit put it up online. And we are like, okay. And like, because, I'm actually, like you're saying, I'm literally an outsider. I mean, um, I had Marcus Tofdal. He's a professor, Swedish in a Swedish university, and he did a whole thesis on the game, the reverse game. He called me up and he sent me a message. Dina, what happened? It's blowing in Bangladesh, and I'm like, what happened? Then we realized, oh, Satyajit had put it up on the Bengali version up. And very soft, we were thinking of doing the press release, and I was still thinking of taking it out as a press note. All that went into the Hawa because before we knew it, Bangladesh had just it had overtaken Teen Patti, everything. So this is the reaction which we received to it. And what happened is, the most powerful thing which we did with the game one is putting the player in the feet of the protagonist and making the player run for his life to save himself. Which, like you're saying, you got 5 or 6 goosebump moments during the play. We all received it. The first time when Satyajit shared with me the gameplay, in the first half an hour, my heart started thumping. So I said, okay, you read somewhere, Satyajit, you've done something good.
Yeah.
That was my litmus test for him. If
Yeah,
my heart
we
started
got weird kind of reactions. I
thumping,
remember a particular people playing it from their kind of washroom and messaging me on the review Play Store. Yeah, my parents doesn't want me to play this game because they kind of thought like this is to be something like a gory or something like that. But I nevertheless I'm kind of trying to play it. We got real sex trafficked women playing this game and reaching us. Okay, this is something similar that happens over there.
I've got reactions from survivors in America.
Wow.
I've got reactions from survivors from all over. Like the kind of response we received. I mean, can you imagine 1 million downloads without total organic? It's really some sort of a indication that we are doing something really important and good, and we should actually do some more in this space. Like
and
I
and
really,
and for a game which is actually not fun, we
It's true.
can, yeah, it's not, it's pain, it's like a
It's
painful.
it like what I felt was you cannot play the whole game in one sitting. Yeah, you need to take breaks. That's what I felt. Like it's too overwhelming. Like uh, it's not a happy place to be in the shoes of the protagonist as well. So
No.
yeah, so that was pretty. But what I wanted to understand, one more thing is like, apart from the game version of it, did you, because there is it looks like there is a certain objective that even you have behind this whole thing, because you were connected to this thing before, even before the game started, right? Because like
yeah.
Satyajit also told me about this, your interest into in non-profits and everything. Did this game help you in the outer world, like to change something, like not through the game, but opportunities or people talking to you about the game, and then
Sure. So the awards, like other than the NASCOM Indie Game of the Year award, we've received awards for the game in the way for inclusion, for the power of using technology. So the other game, the awards we've actually received are more in that category. The fact that we've used technology for change, that we've used. This is a game which has, again, it's a game for a cause. So it's always offbeat in the other game, other apps which are using. They're actually creating something to do with for blind people or for deaf people. But my game stands out totally different because I'm in that same category according to them, and so it has opened up more avenues. It has given us the edge over the use of innovation and technology in the social space, and puts us in a very unique genre and a unique space in the non-profit space also.
that is pretty sick. So now let's just jump into the the second game. What is what is the timeline, and how is it looking? Satyajit, can you just
The second game, we actually, we,
Conversation.
yeah, to be frank, we planned a timeline, and that timeline we failed that timeline. Then we planned again a timeline, we failed that again.
yeah,
Don't say
So
me.
which is like a
Don't
no,
say
no.
me.
I
Don't
would
say me. Don't say me. I've done all my time.
yeah, no, me, I'm
no,
talking about me.
I would just like to defend Satyajit. Is that's how industry works.
Yeah. No, I tried to tell her that this is not only me. This is not only me.
I
I,
know.
I
Look at me smiling. I know.
Yeah, yeah. The point is, after a while, we actually uh, stopped kind of promising to people to actually have a concrete deadline or concrete timeline, because how much breaking of promises can we do? So the thing is, we focused on the game itself. Like when it comes to some kind of alpha or some kind of playable something like that, then we can see the ending line only after that. It's there kind of the we will be having the alpha within a very short while, but the game is so much out of our scope, and game is having so much technical kind of challenges over there. We are not making any promises as of yet, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be released around the next year mid or something like that. We are targeting this February Steam Festival to launch a demo over there, so that people have some kind of experience in a confined space in a small kind of limited way, not the whole game also. And now our game is some kind of open world. It's not like have different gated levels or something like that. Once we expose the person to a demo, the demo itself is the whole game. The whole space is the whole game without the just story. So it becomes actually very challenging to actually do a demo itself. We have to forcefully block people from getting into other areas. It would be so many challenges are
Yeah,
there.
which is what I just wanted to touch base is like this is very commendable given the fact that the team is very small, but you guys are making an open world kind of a game, right? And I know it's like super difficult to make something like that, a world like that. And we spoke the other day and you told me that you're working on Houdini for the same thing, right? Just like can you just give one or two lines on how's the experience was with Houdini, because I want to do a separate session with you specifically on Houdini, so that a lot more people can understand that there is a tool which can help you create amazing assets, if even if you're a small team.
Yeah, yeah. Houdini was like a critical thing, like for our project. Without Houdini, it wouldn't been happen. We would have kind of would have to scrap the whole idea of this open world thing, and we have to move into like some kind of gated level based experiences. So and also Houdini were just introduced that those capabilities in version 17.5 ish kind of. Even before that it was not there. So the thing what happened over there, it just introduced possibility of generating levels of unity from within Houdini using just a PSD file, a Photoshop file over there, is used with markers and all, and Houdini generates the entire level with all the textures, all the foliage, all the buildings, and everything with it. All the things are procedural, but it doesn't look like procedural. So without this procedural generation, we would have been this not done like 100 of this project. So the thing is, and also in other areas like all the assets like buildings and all, those are all smart assets. So you can we built only one of them, and other are only variations of that, but indistinguishable. Like like this from
Yeah,
same as.
I think a lot of people, like, I don't think 9 out of 10 people would be knowing the tool exists, and it's pretty
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
solid.
It's a solid tool. It's a very dependable tool, and it works well with Unity, Unreal, this kind of engines, and it works in a game changing way. You have a kind of very unfair advantage with Udemy. So it
I
makes.
still remember when it came out, Satyajit was so excited. This was last year, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
He was so excited. He said, "Now I can do something." So I could make out something really beautiful has happened.
Yeah, because like generating painting the whole level by hand and doing all the foliage dressing, all the set dressing of those huge. Our space is like kilometers by 4 kilometers. It's a huge space, you know.
Yeah,
So
and what happens is you can get away with pretty decent textures and stuff on a mobile, but when it comes to PC, you
no,
cannot cannot compromise on that stuff. I think that is,
no,
yeah.
it has to be top notch and has to actually be such a way like and it cannot be handled in a like a in a stylized way also, like very difficult. It's very difficult. All has to be realistic, and we also faced another challenge also. Like the thing is like our our place is a village from Bengal, South Bengal. So okay, all the textures and the stuff that are readily available for usage from like stock kind of textures and all that we all use for 3D level generation and all are from like European or Western kind of things. These textures are very different, so it's kind of very hard to actually extract those kind of quality textures from the taking photographs and stuff like that. Also, this COVID situations kind of scrapped that possibility of going back to the village and
Yeah.
doing the shoots
For a
again.
year, we've been thinking of going back. I'm so happy we did the character shoot last year when we did.
Yeah, yeah, we did
Last
a
year.
character shoot.
We did a very amazing thing. Whole village, we did a character shoot of every character in the village. Can you imagine? It was such a beautiful experience.
Wow, where is this village?
So we work in Kurtuli, and there's a village there called Madhusudanpur, which has the history of sending most of his women to Sonagachi. And a lot of NGOs have worked there. But we again, and I didn't really, last 3 years I've been working there, and I was assuming it's been taken care by another NGO. A lot of NGOs working there. So there was one visit which Satyajit did with my man Friday, Babu Mandal, who's been, he's like a foot soldier. दोनों जन गए and they enter this village and he kind of, man, आज हम लोग मिला, ऐसे ऐसे हुआ, ऐसे ऐसे बोला, the kind of stories these two discovered there, it made me so curious. I said I couldn't believe it because I thought Madhusudanpur was well taken care of. You don't want to do work where it's already work has been done. You want to go explore new spaces where you don't get works needed. So we entered Madhusudanpur and we realized there's so much left to be done there. And Satyajit met some amazing ladies there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She
It's a very weird place. Like we don't really visit those kind of places, those kind of people, and it seems like a different world altogether. So the main motto of this game was to actually expose the Western audience into these things, these characters, this culture, this story, these stories, and these choices. Most of our more than stories, these choices, these life choices. For example, like our Western audience knows more about aliens than Bengalis, or any Indian. Knows more about like the hobbits, more about orcs or elves, more than any fellow African or Indian or
From
something like that.
Indians, they will know Maharajas, they will know elephants, they will
Yeah,
know snakes,
elephants. Yeah, they.
they'll know Ramayan, Ram, Krishna. They
Yeah.
don't know the real. There's so many beautiful narratives left to be said in India, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think games, video games is one of the most amazing medium to reach out to a lot more people with the stories, because then a lot of times like when you make a movie, there is a lot of cultural difference in movies as well, and there is a there is this vocals also which are important, the language is important, but when it comes to games, you can just tell a story without
What would
having.
be the main difference out here? It's such an immersive experience. That's what's drawn me to games, right? Because this sort of a topic deserves an immersive experience.
Yeah.
We don't want you to walk into a hall, see a movie, come out, ha, bahut kharab hua. It shouldn't happen, and it's forgotten. This game one has left a deeper impact on people than a 3 hour movie. What we can do with this game is really, really get you thinking. So that's the reason why, as a missing link trust, as a founder of the trust, I'm so driven to exploring the gaming space. It's so powerful and it's such an important community to be addressed. We are actually all the time trying to build communities. What's the main arc for anybody? It's about you might have a fantastic product, but till nobody comes into your product and you don't build your community, who's going to even know that you are there? So it's community building. And I feel the immersiveness which a game can do, which is totally unparalleled. Like I would say, films and Netflix is now working a little bit on it with the Bandersnatch, where you have multiple choices. Games have had multiple choices, and that's what makes them so unique.
Very true. Very true. All right. I think that was it for the episode. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the Steam store page is already up and live. I'll be putting the links of the game in the description below. I'll put your links as well, guys. If you want to reach out these two amazing people,
Yeah.
please see the links in the description. Go check them out, go check their work. They're doing some amazing work. I hope you guys launch the game very soon, because I am pretty much excited to play the game. And all the best once again. If you guys want to share any last bit of words to the audience, please go ahead.
Satyajit?
Come join our Discord server. Let's discuss it over there. Because this is an experimental games, the player involvement is very critical over here. So it's not like we need help from you guys. So please, whenever the game hits a playable demo or whatever it is, please get associated with us and help us out on this making this game. Without your help,
I
it
want
won't.
to say, guys, this is not a social game. It's a really, really fantastic game. First things first. And it's not going to lack in any excitement. It's going to be danger lurking every corner, every coconut tree. Play it, believe it, just like the game one. It's not going to let you down. It's going to be a fantastic game first. That's what we set out to do. We are true to the genre. And I think forget helping us. Just help yourself. You love it.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys, for being a part of
Thank
the
you.
podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Bye bye. Bye.